We're learning the Sikha on Parshas Pekudei in Chelek Chaf Aleph on page 260. The shir today is being learned L'Nishmas Rabbi Yosef ben Yamin ben Rabbi Menashe Koltman. In Zayar Parshas Seinu state, in the Zayar in this week's Parsha, it states as follows: As when the Aron is gekommen leMekaymai of dem Even Shesia, when the Aron in the Holy Ark was brought into the place in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, and there in the Kodesh HaKadoshim it's placed on the foundational rock, Even Shesia. This is the rock of which the entire world was created from. Pasach Arona va'omar, the Aron began and said, Zois munuchasi adeyad, this is my place of rest forever. Poi eshev, here I will be, here I will sit, ki visia, because I desire this. Rabbi Yesa Omar, Rabbi Yesa says, Hai kra Knesset Yisrael omrele. This pasuk of Zois munuchasi, it's actually the Yidden collectively that said this. B'shaite de izbani be makdisha, at the time when the Beis HaMikdash was built, va'al arona la'asrei, and the Aron was brought into its place. A third opinion, Rab Chizki Omar, Kutshebericho Amalei al Knesset Yisrael, it's the Eibishter that said this pasuk in regards to Yidden, Kad Yisrael Avden Re'usei, the Yidden tun dem Ratzen von Eibishten. When Yidden fulfill Hashem's will, Hashem says this pasuk upon them. Da Kedain Kutshebericho Yosef al Kursei Yakare, it's then when Hashem sits on his throne of glory, V'chayis al Alma, and he has mercy upon the world. Ubrache v'shalem v'chavivusa dekula ishtakach, and there's blessing, peace, and love of all that's found. Ukedein Omar, it's then when Hashem says regarding Yidden, Zois munuchasi adeyad, that this is my place of rest forever. We melanet v'pashtus, so as we learn simply the understanding of what it says here in the Zayar, tel sich die drei Deis in Zayar in zwei. The three opinions brought here in the Zayar are divided into really two categories. The erste zwei Deis sind behestem zum Pshat. The first two opinions is fitting more with the simple understanding of the Psukim, was reden wegen dem Zman, when the Aron is gekommen leMekaymai, where the Psukim speak about the time period when the Aron was brought to its place in the Beis HaMikdash. This is not, but the distinction between the first and second opinion here is, was later erste Dei hat dem Aron gesagt, Zeis menuchase adeyad. It's the Aron that said that this is my place of rest forever. Und the Das Rabbi Yesa hat das Knesset Yisrael gesagt. And according to Rabbi Yesa's opinion, it's the Yidden that said this. But it's both regarding the same thing, regarding the Aron coming into its place in the Beis HaMikdash. Later dritte Dei, aber, according to the third opinion, hat es nit kein Sheiches l'chayre zu Pashtus in Yonim Shalaksuvim. This pasuk here, Zeis Meruchase Adiyad, so the pshat that the third opinion is saying is not really related to the simple pshat of the psukim here. When the Aron is gekommen leMekaymai in Kodesh HaKadoshim, that would mean that it's the time when the Aron came into its place in Kodesh HaKadoshim. It's a completely different drasha, something that the Eibishter says regarding Yidden when they fulfill his will. However, understanding the third opinion this way is not smoothly understood here in the words of the Zayar. Wie bald the dritte Dei hat nicht kein Sheiches zu dem Mishkan und Mikdash und Knesset Aron leMekaymai. If the third opinion has no connection to the Mishkan or the Beis HaMikdash and the Aron being brought into its place, Teichene Inyan in Zayar, which is the content of what the Zayar speaks about here, hat the Zayar bechlal nicht gedacht bringen dem Pirish da. So there's no reason for the Zayar to bring this opinion, this third interpretation of the pasuk Zois menuchasi adeyad here. The Zayar is not just coming to say Pirushim on that pasuk. It's coming to explain what happened when the Beis HaMikdash was built, when the Aron came into its place. Stam Pirushim in pasuk Zois menuchasi zenen gewiss da kama v'kama. Whether any kinds of interpretations that there are regarding this pasuk, there definitely are many interpretations, but here's not the place where the Zayar is focusing on bringing all opinions regarding the meaning of the pasuk Zois menuchasi adiyad. So why is this third opinion, that it's the Eibishter speaking about Yidden Bechlal when they fulfill his will, brought over here as a third opinion in the Zayar? An additional point regarding the first two opinions. So before, the Rebbe explained that it seems like the first two opinions are in the same category. It's the same point regarding when the Aron is brought into the place in its Kodesh HaKadoshim. It's just a question of who is the one that said the pasuk of Zeis Menuchasi, whether the Aron said it or the Yidden said it. So the Rebbe will question that premise as well. So regarding this additionally as well, Benigea, the erste zwei Deis, regarding the first two opinions, is move on, it's understood as the chiluk is nit nor veres hat gesagt, zeis men chase yad yad. The difference between the first two opinions is not only in regards to who is the one that said that this is my place of rest forever. Okay, the mochach von dem, this is clear from the fact, was betchilas in Zayah state. In the beginning of this subject, the Zayah begins as follows: as shapiru da alma, v'cheizu da alma, the beauty of the world, the revelation or the appearance of the world, hat sich nit gesehen ba'alma, was not seen in the world at the isbani v'itoka mashkana, until it was built and put up, the Mishkan, v'al arein logoy kacha, and the arein was brought into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So the Zayah begins speaking about the fact that we're talking about the arein that's brought into its place in the Mishkan, not in its place in the Kodesh HaKadoshim on the Even Shasiyah. From dem Bolton, and from the time when the Aron was brought into the Mishkan, is Chazi Chezed the Kula Ba'alma. You saw the revelation of all in the world. Ve'estaken Alma, and the world was rectified. Va'azli Ba'ahu Mashkana Ba'ahu Arena, and the world went along with the revelation that was brought about through the Mishkan and the Aron which was in the Mishkan. Then the Zayah continues, Bizis is gekumen lahi nekude di iu yifei noif chedva de kaila, until finally the Aron came to that spot, that point, which is called Yifei Noif, based on a pasuk, Yifei Noif, the beautiful place and the place of joy of all, the Mokim from Even Shasiyah, the place where you have the foundational rock in the Beis HaMikdash, and Kivin, the Matilo Hasam, Kedein Pasach Harein of Amar, it's when the Aron came into the Beis HaMikdash, that is, came into the Beis HaMikdash, there in that place in the Even Shasiyah, then the Aron began and said, Zeis Menuchasi Yad Yad. That's the introduction to the first opinion. So it begins with the fact that it came into the Mishkan and then from there into the Beis HaMikdash. Then Rabbi Yosef says his opinion, and there Rabbi Yosef seems to be saying something different. Oib Rabbi Yosef kommt sagen, as nit der Aron hat das gesagt, no Knesset Yisrael, if all Rabbi Yosef, the second opinion, comes to say is that the one that said Zeis Menuchasi is not the Aron, rather it's Yidin, hat der Bleis gedacht sagen, Hai Krak Knesset Yisrael Amrele. So all you should say is that it's the Yidden, the one that said it. Because the Zayah already before gave the whole introduction regarding what time period this is being said. From them, was is Keifel. From the fact that he mentions and goes over again. B'shaita, the Isbani B'makdisha v'al Arein al-Asrei. This is in the time when the Beis HaMikdash is built. And the Aron is brought to its place. And then is when Yidden said, why is he repeating this again if the Zayah already said this before as an introduction to the first opinion here? Is move on as Meisif nach Bezeh. So it's understood that Rabbi Yosef is coming to add another point here. As das is verbunden, that this that Yidden say is connected to nit nor mit dem Aron atzmai, not just with the Aron itself that comes to its place, nor euch mit dem Zman de Isbani B'makdisha. It's with the time of the building of the Beis HaMikdash in general, not just with the Aron specifically that's brought into its place. So if so does hey, so now it comes out as follows. The chiluk from the drei is the difference between the three opinions brought in the Zayah here is sai veres hat gesagt zeis menuchasi yad yad. So first it's who is the one that said this pasuk of zeis menuchasi yad yad, whether it was the Aron said it, or Knesset Yisrael, or the Kutsheberichu, or was it the Yidden or Hashem. Und sei, was das ist gesagt geworden. And it's also, they're arguing here regarding what is this pasuk being said. Is it regarding the place of rest for the Aron in the Kodesh HaKadoshim on the Even Shasiyah? Or Zman Beis HaMikdash? Is it regarding the Beis HaMikdash in general, the time period when the Beis HaMikdash is built? Or the Zman, the Yisrael of Neruseh? Or is it in a time period when Yidden fulfill Hashem's will? Those are the three opinions here in the Zayah, and as Rabbi pointed out, the fact that the Zayah brings the third opinion, there must be a connection. The third opinion is not just a separate, random point unrelated to the Beis HaMikdash, but this is also related to the other two opinions. But what we still have to understand is, Aleph, number one, the Teichen Achiluk zwischen die erste zwei Deis. What is the content of the difference here between the first two opinions? Wie bald, dass like beide Deis redt sich da wegen demselben Zman, wie Inyan. They're both opinions. They're speaking about the same time period. For all Arein al-Asrei, when the Aron was brought into its place, Was is the Teichen HaChiluk von der Amiras Arayna or the Knesset Yisrael? What is the content of the difference, whether it's the Aaron is saying it or the Yidden are saying it, and regarding what they're saying it? Seemingly they're both saying regarding the same thing, that the Aaron is being brought to its place, and that's its place of rest. Beis, the other question is, was is Negeya in the erste Deya, the Agdame wegen dem Binyan HaMishkan, v'al Arayna l'goy kotsha in Mishkan. The Zohar begins talking about the fact that the Aaron is brought into its place in the Mishkan. And afterwards, that from there, it was brought to its place in the Beis HaMikdash and the Heaven Shasiyah. Wie bald as the Pasuk, Zeist men Chassi Yad Yad, redt wegen dem Ankommen von Aaron in Beis HaMikdash Cholo. The Pasuk speaks about the fact that the Aaron arrives in its place in the Beis HaMikdash. So why does the Zohar begin and focus so much on the fact that the Mishkan was built, and the Aaron was brought there, and then the beauty of the world was seen, and so on? Okay, so the Rabbi here will explain the deeper understanding of these three opinions. They are expressing three different aspects of the building of the Mishkan and the Beis HaMikdash and so on. And the Rebbe will explain this on different levels. V'habir, to explain this, the chiluk zwischen die drei deises, the difference between the three opinions here. Was is the ikir ha'inyan in Mishkan and Mikdash? What is the primary purpose? What is the primary focus in the building of the Mishkan and the Mikdash? L'deya ha'alef, according to the first opinion in the Zohar, that it's the Aaron that said, Zeis Meruchas Yad Yad, is B'lashon Ramban, to use the expression that Ramban says in Parshas Truma, Iker HaChefetz B'Mishkan, the main desire of Hashem in the building of the Mishkan, Hu Makim Menuchas HaShchina Shu HaAron. It's a place where the Shchina rests, and that is in the Aaron. That's one opinion regarding the primary focus of the building of the Mishkan and then the Beis HaMikdash as well. So therefore, halti day, it's according to this opinion, as pasach aroina v'ama zeis menuchas yad yad, that it's the Aaron itself that opens and says that this is the place where Hashem rests forever. This is the place where the Aaron is forever. When the Aaron comes to its place in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So it's the Aaron that's speaking, because the Aaron is expressing the main purpose of what the Mishkan is about, that the Eibishter dwells there in the Aaron. But that's Rabbi Yisa according to the second opinion. Rabbi Yisa is der Ikkere Inyan von Mishkan und Mikdash, as Yidden sollen haben am Mokken Kavua zu dienen dem Eibishten. The main purpose here of the Beis HaMikdash, the Mishkan and then the Beis HaMikdash, is for Yidden. The Yidden should have a place where they can come and serve Hashem there. B'lashon Rambam, as the Rambam says regarding the mitzvah of building the Beis HaMikdash, that the mitzvah is to build a bayis, a home, muchan liyas makrivim by a karbonis, which is prepared and available for Yidden to bring karbanis there, v'chaygig and elov shalosh pamim b'shana, and they come to celebrate there 3 times a year on Yom Tov. Was that Inyan? So this idea, this part of the Beis HaMikdash that's there, available for Yidden to come and serve Hashem. This was accomplished when the Beis HaMikdash was built, and the Aaron was brought into its place. On Yidden haben den Beis HaMikdash la'avei chulu. So they have now the place, the home, to serve the Eibishter there. Und the far is Knesset Yisrael Amra. So therefore, according to Rabbi Yis's opinion, since the main purpose of the building of the Beis HaMikdash is for Yidden to be there, to be able to serve Hashem, so it's the Yidden that express this Aveda that they have now available for them when the Aaron is brought into its place and the Beis HaMikdash is set for them to come and serve. That's Rab Chizkiah, according to the third opinion, Rab Chizkiah, is the Ikre Inyan from Mishkan or Mikdash. What's the main purpose of building the Beis HaMikdash, the Mishkan and then the Beis HaMikdash? V'shachanti b'soicham. As the pasuk concludes, V'asili Mikdash, v'shachanti b'soicham, the plural term, which means the Menucha from the Eibishten is verbunden damit, was is Sheichen zwischen in Eden. It's not just the Menucha and the Mishkan itself, the Ikra Chayfetz and the Aaron, or the fact that it's a place available for Eden to come to and serve Hashem, but through the Beis HaMikdash, the Eibishter dwells amongst Eden in general. On the Rebbe Lerenter, so therefore the third opinion says, as Kotshebericho Amalei al Knesset Yisrael, when the Beis HaMikdash is finally built and the Aaron is in its place, so the Eibishter says that now I can dwell amongst Eden, and this is my place of rest forever. So this is the answer to the question that the Rebbe asked, that the third opinion seems to just simply be talking about Yidden that fulfill Hashem's will, unrelated to what we're talking about here with the Beis HaMikdash, but it's not so. This is the third and main point about the Beis HaMikdash, that through the Beis HaMikdash, the Eibishter dwells amongst Yidden. Okay, so those are the 3 different aspects of the Mishkan and the Beis HaMikdash. the three opinions that the Zohar says, who is the one that's expressing the main purpose of the Beis HaMikdash in saying the pasuk of Zois Menuchasi Adeyad. Since, however, all of these opinions are all true, and they're all the words of Hashem, furthermore, benidni done in our case, benigei deis, was bringen sich in Zohar, regarding a difference of opinion that's brought regarding how we interpret this pasuk that's brought in the Zohar, was less tamon loikashi chulu oloi machloikis. In the Zohar, all opinions brought are all expressing a certain truth. In Zohar, there's no argument, there's no machloikis, and therefore it's all opinions that are true. He's Yeshloimar, so we can say here, Azmara Machada, Umara Machada V'loi Pligi. Each opinion is saying a certain point, and there's no argument about this, that they're all expressing a certain aspect that's true. Das heißt, and what's meant by this is, nicht nur, as alle drei days sind an emes, was is in alle da im Mikdash. The point over here that all three opinions are true is not only in the sense of that since you have these three aspects in the building of the Mishkan and the Mikdash, so therefore all these opinions are expressing that aspect, so they're true in that sense. Nor furthermore, each one of these three opinions is actually the primary focus and in actuality in a certain time period. It's speaking about three different time periods regarding the fulfillment of the mitzvah of building the Mishkan and the Beis HaMikdash, and in each time period there is another opinion of the Zohar that's expressed fully and primarily. So what are these three different time periods? In the Inyan from Mikdash, then in da Bechlal is drei Zmanim v'Inyanim. Regarding the Beis HaMikdash, there are generally speaking three time periods and three different times that express different points. HaMishkan, when the Yidden build the Mishkan in the Midbar. Then Beis HaMikdash, Yerushalayim, the Beis HaMikdash that's built in Yerushalayim, Ha'alav Ha'beis, that includes the first and second Beis HaMikdash. And then the Beis HaMikdash to La'aseh, the Bayis Shlishi. The Beis HaMikdash of the future, the third Beis HaMikdash. Those are the three general time periods regarding the fulfillment of the mitzvah to build a Beis HaMikdash. On Visis Oich Mevur Merumiz in Divrei Chazal, Oif Haschalas Parshasenu, and this is all explained and hinted in the words that Chazal say in the beginning of this week's parsha. Eile Pekudei Mishkan, Mishkan Eidus. This is the counting of the Mishkan of Eidus. So it says here the double lashon Ha-Mishkan and then Mishkan. So Chazal tell us Ha-Mishkan, Mishkan Shnei Pamim. It says the expression of Mishkan twice. Remez LeMikdash Shenis Mashkin B'Shnei Cherbonim. This hints to the Beis HaMikdash that was taken from us as a collateral when it was destroyed twice, the two Batei Mikdashes that were destroyed. That's what Chazal tell us regarding the first pasuk in this week's parsha. Kumtais, so then it comes out as follows. As their pasuk reta, that here in this pasuk we see all 3 points mentioned before regarding the 3 time periods of the Beis HaMikdash. Aleph, ein mikra yetzim midei pshutai, wegen der Mishkan. You can't take the pasuk out of the simple pshat. It's speaking about the Mishkan that was built then in the Midbar. Beis beremez wegen der Mishkan shenis mashkin. The fact that you have the double lashon Mishkan, there's a hint here that it refers to the Beis HaMikdash that was taken as a collateral twice, so the 2 Batei Mikdashes. Ubemele, and then we also have here Gimel oich wegen dem Beis HaMikdash lasid. It's hinted here the 3rd Beis HaMikdash as well. Varam vibal, the pasuk is meramis. Dem churban HaMikdash mit dem lashon Mishkan. Since the pasuk here hints to the fact that the 1st and 2nd Beis HaMikdash are going to be destroyed, but how does it hint to it? By the fact that it's going to be taken as a collateral, shenis mashkin. Is move on, it's understood from this, as churbanin, what does it mean that the 1st and 2nd Beis HaMikdash get destroyed? Is nit as Beis HaMikdash Rishain V'Sheni. It's not that both the 1st and 2nd Beis HaMikdash, but the pasuk is Zeidah Koil Umeramis Ke'echad, which the pasuk hints to them, both of them, and includes them both together as one. Remez LeMikdash uses a singular term, the Mikdash, Shenis Mashkin B'Shnei Chorbanin, that is taken as a collateral in both times when it was destroyed. But Chas V'Shalom Batel Veren. That this means that the Beis HaMikdash is removed and totally eradicated, God forbid. Notice is an anayfim from Mashkin. It's rather the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash is like just a collateral that is taken from us temporarily. A mashkin geht reis von der Schussleive. A collateral leaves the possession of the borrower und gefindt sich bei Malve zeitweilig, and it's given to the lender temporarily. Und saf wird umgekehrt zum Leive. In the end, the Leive pays up the loan, the lender, the borrower pays up the loan, and the collateral is returned. Hazayach has been done. The same is also here in our case with the two Batim Mikdashes that are destroyed. As the Mikdash Rishon V'Sheni Vet Nor Nismashken. The first and second Beis Hamikdash are just taken as a collateral b'shnei Chobanim, the two times they were destroyed. Und nachdem wird umgekehrt zu Yidden. And then it's returned to the Yidden, and that is the Beis Hamikdash HaGimel, the La'asid, and the third Beis Hamikdash. So therefore we see here in the Pasuk in this week's Parsha that it hints to the third Beis Hamikdash as well. Those are the three general time periods of the Yidden in the fulfillment of the mitzvah of building the Beis Hamikdash. Now, these three time periods is related to the three opinions that the Zohar brings regarding where is the primary focus, who is the one that speaks about the resting of Hashem here in this world. Now, the Chilok from the drei Inyanim, Mishkan, Mikdash, and Mikdash Jalasid. What is the difference between the time period when the Mishkan was built, and then the first and second Beis Hamikdash in Yerushalayim, and then the third Beis Hamikdash? In Mishkan hat sich aufgetan beikar olachal reish the menuchas hashchine shehu ha'aren. In the Mishkan, what was accomplished primarily and first and foremost is that this is a place where the Shechina dwells, has a place of rest in the Aren. Was das ist früher nicht gewesen. Before this, there wasn't a permanent place where the Shechina dwells. Noch mehr, furthermore, der Inyan ha-menucha menuchasi von dem Aren, in a neifen kavua, this that Hashem dwells in the Aren in a permanent manner is given be'ikir in Mishkan. This was primarily in the Mishkan, even in contrast to the Beis HaMikdash. Wo der Aren is given b'mekaimai dem ganzen Meshach Zman von Kiyam HaMishkan. The Aren was there in the Mishkan the entire time when the Mishkan was standing. Mashenken in the Batim Mikdash, which is not the case when it comes to both of the Batim Mikdash. The Aren wasn't there all the time. In Mikdash Sheni is the Aren Milchatchila not given. In the second Beis Hamikdash, the Aren was not there. It was already buried and hidden underground. On a Mikdash Rishon is the Aren not given Kol Zman Shayikayim. Even in the first Beis Hamikdash, the Aren was not there the entire time it was standing. Val B'Sayf Zmanit, towards the end of the first Beis Hamikdash, Gonzei Yeshiyahu hid the Aren under the ground. So the Mishkan represents the Shechina dwelling in the Aren. That was the accomplishment of the Mishkan. Thus has been neged dem Aren. So as far as the Aren is concerned, there's an advantage to this dwelling of the Shechina in the Aren in the Mishkan. But if you look at the concept of rest and being permanent in one place in regards to the entire Mishkan or the entire Beis HaMikdash is Adarabah. So there, the opposite is true. The Mishkan was disassembled and it was carried from one location to another. And therefore it's referred to as a tent, which is moved from one location to another. By im is nit given der inyan akvius v'amenucha. Regarding the Mishkan, it wasn't permanent and rested in one place. By contrast, Batei Mikdash, a house, a home that's built permanently, Zeir Binyan is given kavua b'makom echad. It was built in Yerushalayim and it's permanent in one location. So as far as the whole building is concerned, the permanence is specifically regarding the Batei Mikdash. That's the Maila of the first and second Beis HaMikdash. However, now the Beis Batei Mikdash aber is nit given binyanim nitzchim. The first and second Beis HaMikdash are not there eternally. Sie sind zugenommen geworden by Yidden, they were taken from Yidden. Chach, der Makim is geblieben b'ktushasai, even though the place, the Makim HaMikdash, the holiness remains in the place. Shechina in betela, since this is the place where the Shechina dwells, and the presence of the Shechina is not bottled in that place, but the actual structure of the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed and was taken from Yidden. And the Bayis HaShlishi, the third Beis HaMikdash, aber, wird sein a binyan nitzchi. That's a structure, the Beis HaMikdash will be built in this place and will be there eternally. Those are the three time periods, and that's the difference between the time of the Mishkan, where the main chiddush, the main novelty of the Mishkan is that you had the Aren there, and you had it all the time there. And then there's the permanence, the fact that Hashem chooses a home in a permanent location in Yerushalayim. And then the eternity of the third Beis HaMikdash, which is only then, was not fulfilled before by the first and second Beis HaMikdash. So based on this, we could explain the three opinions that the Zohar says here regarding the pasuk Zayis Meruchasi Ad Yad. This is Hashem's dwelling place forever. Who is the one that's expressing this? The first opinion in the Zohar, pasuk Haroina V'Alma Zayis Meruchasi Ad Yad, that the Aren is saying this is my place of rest forever. Kommt behemshich to them was his bani ve'itokam mashkene va'al areina legoy kocha. This follows what the Zohar gives as an introduction, that we're speaking about the time period when the Mishkan was built and the Aron was brought into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So the Rabbi, this is one of the questions the Rabbi asked before, why are we focusing here in the first opinion on the Mishkan? So now the Rabbi explains, because the fact that the main presence of the Shekhinah is in the Mishkan, is in the Aron, that is, was expressed more and specifically in the Mishkan. This aspect of Hashem resting in the Mishkan, which relates specifically to the Aron, is Haschalasai ve'ikroi atzach oivketam ba'mishkan. This began and it was primarily fulfilled in the Mishkan. Aber das ist nicht kein Menucha bescheiches zum Bayis, Mishkan Gufe. However, this is not a level of rest which relates to the entire structure of the Mishkan or the Beis HaMikdash. Und the Rebbe is Benigeye Yidden. So therefore, on the other hand, regarding Yidden that have a location to come to there, to serve Hashem, to was faran or to Bayis, is the place and the home that they come to, Zakmin, the Pasuk tells us, Kiloi Basem Goime Elamanucha Velanachla. You still don't have a permanent place and location where Hashem rests, which is the permanent inheritance of Yidden to come serve Hashem. So that aspect of Nachla, of Menucha, was not attained yet. And the zweite day in Zayar, then comes the second opinion in Zayar, is the Medubbe wegen dem Zman HaMikdash. Here, the second opinion is referring to the time when the Beis HaMikdash was built, the first and second Beis HaMikdash. And therefore, Rabbi Yosef doesn't just speak about the fact that it's the Yidden that said this, but he also gives the introduction and says, or actually he adds after he says that it's the Yidden that says that, say this, he adds and says, when was this? B'shaita de Izbani be'makdisha v'al areinu lasrei. It's a time when the Beis HaMikdash, referring to the Beis HaMikdash in general, was built, and the Aron was brought into his place. Then there was a place and a binyan, a structure, that was permanent for the Shekhinah to dwell there. So this gives the Yidden a permanent place where they can come to a place of rest and an inheritance, a prepared place available for them to come to always to serve Hashem. As the Rambam describes what the accomplishment of the fact that there was a spot chosen where the Yidden built the Beis HaMikdash. Once the Beis HaMikdash is built in Yerushalayim, Nesru kol hamakaimis kulan livneis behem bayis lashem cholam. All other places are now prohibited of building a permanent home for Hashem there. There's no other permanent place for all future generations. Elab Yerushalayim Bilvad uba Har HaMoriah, in Yerushalayim and therein on the mountain of Har HaMoriah. And Shabbat Emma regarding the Beis HaMikdash and Har HaMoriah, the pasuk tells us, Vayem David Chulu. This is the permanent place for Yidden to build a Mizbeach for Karban Oila for Yidden. And that's what we're focusing on over here, the second aspect of the Beis HaMikdash, the fact that it's a permanent place for Yidden to come and serve Hashem. And this is the place where Hashem dwells forever, for Yidden to come and serve Him there. That's the accomplishment of the Batei Mikdash, which is expressed by the second opinion here in the Zohar. The Yidden are saying this, because the Yidden are expressing the fact that they have a permanent location to go to serve Hashem. And the dritte day, in the third opinion, what is the third opinion speaking about, or at least it's hinted, on Shleimus the Beis HaMikdash. This is the ultimate level of revelation of the Beis HaMikdash, wegen Beis HaMikdash, HaGimel de La'aseh, about the third Beis HaMikdash in the future. In dem Zman, in this time period, when the Yidden will ausführen beschleimus dem Ratzen und Kavanah von dem Eibischen, when Yidden will fully fulfill the will and the purpose of Hashem, Kad Yisrael Avden Ru'usei beschleimus, when Yidden fulfill the will of Hashem completely, on the highest level. That the Bayis Zayin, a Bayis Nitzchi, the Beis HaMikdash will be an eternal home. Evet Kemel that zugenommen werden von Yidden, it will never be taken again from Yidden. So it's not, in other words, it's not only the Kedusha that will be permanent in this place, but also the Yidden will have that connection to the Eibishter revealed to them permanently. Und demolt sagt Kutsche Bericho al Knesset Yisrael, it's then that the Eibishter is expressing this, his deep and eternal connection with Yidden, Zeis Munuchasi Adeyad, that the Yidden are the eternal place where Hashem rests in them. Warum the Ashra from the Eibishter zwischen Yidden is an Aneifim from Munuchasi Adeyad, it's at that time period where Hashem dwells amongst Yidden eternally, Amanucha V'nachla Nitzchis Begilui, where you see revealed a place where Hashem rests, and this is His inheritance, and it's revealed where the building of the Beis HaMikdash, not just the kedusha of the place, while the Beis HaMikdash is destroyed, and Yidden don't see revealed their connection to Hashem here, but it's a place where we'll see revealed the connection between Yidden and the Eibishter in this place. That's the third opinion, which is the ultimate fulfillment of the building of the Beis HaMikdash, to bring out the fact that the Eibishter dwells b'seicham, amongst all Yidden. Those are the three opinions. Okay, so here though, now in Sifov, the Rebbe will continue and explain that these three opinions that are expressing different aspects of the Beis HaMikdash, which are fulfilled in different time periods, the Mishkan, the Batei Mikdash, and then the third Beis HaMikdash, they're all really one inyan. There's one continuation here in fulfilling one mitzvah of building the Beis HaMikdash. Kishem, wie das ist benegeh der Mishkan, by Beis HaMikdash Alava Beis. By Shlishi, now just like this is true regarding the actual building of a Mishkan, or the first or second Beis HaMikdash, or the third Beis HaMikdash. As das ist eine Nitken besondere Inyanim. These are not three separate things. Not ein Inya v'hemshech. It's all one point and one continuation. The mitzvah, Lashon Yachid, from V'asi LeMikdash. It's one mitzvah, one singular mitzvah of building the Beis HaMikdash. Hat sich angeheben, it began, men hat ihr Mekayim gewen, bebinyan HaMishkan. It was fulfilled when the Mishkan was built. Mamshech gewen. You continue the fulfillment of this mitzvah. The Beis HaMikdash ha'alev ha'beis, when you build the first and second Beis HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, and then Mishlei Musa, and it's fulfilled to its utmost perfection. Kemitzvah setzeinecha, the way Hashem's will is fully fulfilled. In the fulfillment of the third Beis HaMikdash, may it be speedily in our time. So the point here is, it's not three different aspects of the building of the Beis HaMikdash, but it's one hemshech. It's the fulfillment of one mitzvah, and therefore it's all one inyan. It's all one point. Al derech same could be said also regarding the three opinions and the three time periods that we explained till now. Is das euch benegeh die Protim, was is madgischen Zoya, regarding the details that the Zoya highlights here, the menucha b'shayches zum Oren, the rest of it, that Hashem has a place of rest in the Oren. And then Beis HaMikdash, not just the Oren, but more generally the Beis HaMikdash, and Knesset Yisrael, Kutshe Berichu, and this that Hashem says that He dwells amongst Yidden. Then das nit kein besondere Sachen. These are not different aspects, different parts of what the Beis HaMikdash accomplishes, nor ein hemshech. This is really all one continuation of accomplishing one inyan. So what's the connection between them? Why? How is it seen as all beginning with one point, one mitzvah, and then bringing that one mitzvah to its perfection in the third Beis HaMikdash? Wenn wir das verstehen, we can understand this behektim die kaloshen in the dritte Deye, by first taking a closer look at the precise words that the Zohar uses when it brings the third opinion, that it's the Eibishter that says regarding Yidden, that his place of rest is in Yidden. But that is Aleph, so here the Zohar is Meirich. The Zohar goes on with seemingly extra points here. The Hakedain in this time, Yosef al Kursi Yakare, the Eibishter sits on his throne of glory, the Chayis al Alma, and he has mercy on the entire world. Ubracha v'shalom v'chavivusa the koila shtakach, and there's blessing, peace, and love of all that's found in that time period. This entire introduction relating to the entire world seems to be completely extra. Void, additionally, based l'chayre, was is der inyan ageyada? Here, speaking about the fact that Hashem has mercy on the entire world and there's peace upon the entire world, how is that relevant here? Here was the whole point of the third opinion is the fact that Hashem says, my place of rest is within Yidden. Und nicht bescheiches zu der Welt bechlolles. And this is not in relation to the world in general. So why is the Zohar bringing up over here that, according to this opinion, this is a time period where you can see the peace and the love of Hashem in relation to the entire world? So there has to be over here one point, a thread that goes through the first, second, and third opinion, which is expressed over here in this point that the Zohar says that you see the peace and the blessing of the Eibishter in the entire world. So the explanation of this is as follows. The first opinion that says that it's the Oren that opens and says that this is the place of Hashem's dwelling in the Oren, is the Aveda from Torah. What this refers to is, this is the Yidden serving Hashem through learning Torah. Kamuvan, as it's understood, das ist doch kol ha'inyan shel ha'oren. This is what the Oren represents, as it says in the Gemara, Ein ba'arein rak shnei luchos ha'avonim. What do you have in the arein? It's actually based on the pasuk. That all you have in the arein is, it is a pasuk actually in Malachim, that all you have in the arein is the luchos, which is Torah. That's what the arein represents. So the point that we said before, that the Eibishter dwells in the arein, and that's the whole point of the first opinion, which was accomplished primarily in the Mishkan. What does the arein represent? The arein represents Torah in this world, the power of Torah, the learning of Torah in this world. On the Shleimus von Torah, now the learning of Torah in this world is not just regarding the Torah in this world and the Yidden learning Torah in this world, but it's also the Torah and the effect that it has regarding the entire world where the Torah is being learned. Und the Shleimus von Torah is, b'shas the Eisek HaTorah is an anaifim from Menucha. What is the Shleimus of Eisek HaTorah that is? That when one is able to occupy his time in learning Torah. It's when he could learn Torah in a completely restful state, and there's nothing in the world that's distracting or disturbing him from learning Torah. As the Gemara says, who was given Torah to expound, in other words, to be able to focus very deeply in learning Torah? Ones that ate from the man. Ones that ate from the man had no distractions, and the entire environment of the world around them was made it possible for them to be totally focused on learning. On Vigerat Fil Mala Pirish, it was already explained many times the meaning of this Chazal, as Bichdei zu verstehen und nehmen Torah keteboy, in order to understand, and not just understand Torah, but really take in the truth of Torah properly. Darf man sein frei von aller Tirdes Hamavavlos. One has to be completely free of all other things that may preoccupy him and disturb him. Like it is the case with the ones that eat the man. If you want to get the emes of Torah, if you're distracted by other things in the world that say to you that there's something else in the world that's important or significant, so then the emes of what Torah is cannot resonate with you. There are other things that are important in your life. So the shleimus of the existence of Torah in the world is expressed by the fact that the world does not disturb this truth of Torah that's being expressed in the world. That's the first stage of the Shekhinah coming down into the world through Torah. Shas, the limit of Torah is Kedeboy. Then the next stage is when one learns Torah properly. Is God limud shemevele de Maise. So then by learning Torah, this leads then to action. Torah kommt up in Maisa mitzvahs. Learning Torah then leads to a person fulfilling the mitzvahs. Und peilt as das sein beschleimus. And the Torah also has the impact that even if he was doing mitzvahs before, but the mitzvahs should be done on its highest level. Was the mit tutzachayiv the bitter from Welt. So over here, what's accomplished is that not only you're focused on learning Torah and you're not engaging with the world, but the world is not a disturbance to you, but here it goes a step deeper. Over here, you actually have the ability to fulfill in action in the world and refine the world itself. Und das drückt sich aus in dem, was is bani bei makdish of. So this is the second stage, not only regarding the Orein, the Torah itself, but regarding the building of the entire Beis HaMikdash. As wird aufgebaut in Welt, you build in the world a place, a structure, a binyan, kavua for the Eibishter, a permanent dwelling for the Eibishter. Und in dem is da koyach o peulas metzias ha-Torah v'al arein el-asrei. And here, in this home of the Eibishter, in this world, a permanent place for the Eibishter, you have the Oren inside of it, and the effect of the Oren is not just the Oren itself, where the Eibishter dwells, but also an entire home in this world, that you have a permanent place for the Eibishter to elevate the world itself. That's the second stage. Und then what bescheitet is bani. So then, when the Beis HaMikdash is built, Zogin Knesset Yisrael, so over here, it's the Yidden that express and say, Zois menuchasi yad yad. That this is the Eibishter's place of dwelling forever. As vet the shleimus hamanucha von Yidden. This brings the ultimate peace, or the Eibishter rests amongst Yidden. How durchführen the Gzer Kavana, when Yidden fulfill their purpose, was ani nevreisi l'shamish eskaini, a Yid is created in this world to serve Hashem, durchkiyim ritzayne, by fulfilling Hashem's will, Torah or mitzvahs, to fulfill mitzvah, to learn Torah and fulfill mitzvahs. That's the second stage of the Shekhinah coming down into the world. So the point here is, with the Orain, it's the first stage of the Torah coming into the world, and the world will not disturb. The shleimus of Torah is when there's no distraction and disturbance of the world. The second stage is when Yidden built a permanent home within the Welt to bring the Torah down, to do Torah mitzvahs in the world itself. That's when the Beis HaMikdash is built. And then we come to the third stage, the ultimate shleimus and b'shas Yisrael of the Reusei, when Yidden fulfill the will of Hashem, is kutshebricho amalei al knesses Yisrael. The Eibishter here says regarding Yidden, Zois menuchase yad yad, where is the place of dwelling of the Eibishter? It's in Yidden. They are the place where the Eibishter rests forever. As vet kaviyachol the shleimus from kutshebricho, this reveals the ultimate of who the Eibishter is. Varom Yisrael kutshebricho kol echad. The essence of the Eibishter is one with the essence of Yidden, and therefore the ultimate revelation of the Eibishter is dafke within Yidden themselves. And that's the third Beis HaMikdash after bringing Torah into the world. The world is not a disturbance. And then you're even able to build a home for Yidden to serve Hashem, to fulfill their purpose in serving Hashem in this world, and by elevating the world. But then you come to the ultimate purpose, which is the Eibishter dwelling within Yidden, and then the world gets elevated on a completely different level, as the Rabbi explains here. The proof of this, that the Eibishter dwells fully within Yidden, where is the shleimus of the Eibishter in this world expressed? Zok the Zayah, so here the Zayah continues and says, it's at this time when Hashem sits on his holy throne, on his throne of glory, and he has mercy upon the world. And there's blessing, peace, and love for all that's found in the world. If we're talking here about the ultimate time period where Hashem dwells within Yidden, the essence of Hashem, which is revealed specifically within Yidden, so how is this related to the fact that there's blessing and peace upon the entire world? Because that's how it's expressed. That's the proof for this. And the Rebbe explains, when you have the existence of the world that does not disturb Yidden, that's already began and accomplished when the Oren, Torah, is brought into the world, as was explained before, that the world is not disturbed to the learning of the Torah. But here, much more than this, on the contrary, the Anhagim von Welt Gufe, the way the world itself behaves, afila the Gashmias, the physical existence of the world, is ba'ofen shal bracha v'shalim. The world itself is a place of a blessing and a place of peace, which means a makim muksher, a place which is prepared, masim u'misayeya tzodan hagim for Yidden, and a place which is befitting and even assisting Yidden to come and serve Hashem for everything that Yidden have to do. So the point over here is, where is it expressed that the Eibishter dwells amongst Yidden? That's expressed by the fact that the entire creation of the world is here for this purpose. That the whole existence of the world is for the Eibishter to be fully expressed within Yidden. And Kedei Omar, and that's the time when the Yidden, or the Eibishter actually says regarding Yidden, Zois Menuchas Yichulu, the Eibishter dwells amongst Yidden. Then it's revealed as Knesses Yisrael and Ramochen L'Shifte Yisbarach, that the Yidden are the ones which are the ultimate dwelling for Hashem. As the Pnimiyis HaKavana V'Inyan von Dire La Yisbarach. This is the fulfillment of the real purpose of the Dire for Hashem in this world. And where is that? Lada V'Lishkem B'Nishamis Yisrael Lamata. It's the fact that the Eibishter dwells amongst Yidden. So the Aveda before, so this is, you see here, there's one hemshech here. It's Yidden here in this world. The first stage is that Yidden have the Torah and they are learning the Torah and the world is not distracting, the world is not disturbing. And then the Yidden bring the Torah down into the mitzias of the world through the fulfillment of Torah mitzvahs. And then Yidden create a dira for Hashem here below in this world, and the ultimate expression of that is not the dwelling of the Shekhinah in the world, but the essence of the Eibishter could only be expressed in the essence of Yidden, and that's expressed by the fact that the entire world is here to assist Yidden in their Aveda. The peace and the blessing of the world is the fact that they're all here to help Yidden in the Eibishter dwelling in them. Therefore, this is one hemshech over here of the three time periods that the Zohar mentions, the three opinions. With this, we can understand also regarding, as was explained, that this relates to the Mishkan and then the Bate Mikdashes, which includes the first and second Beis HaMikdash and then the third Beis HaMikdash. This is all one point and one continuation. It starts with the building of the Mishkan. And further, another point here is, this is in such a manner as the Batim Mikdashes bringen und seinen Geirem dem Inyan und dem Giloi im Beis HaShlishi. Right from the beginning, when the Mishkan is built, and then the first and second Beis HaMikdash, they are all a beginning, and they cause and lead the way to bring to the ultimate fulfillment of this mitzvah of building the Beis HaMikdash in this world and the revelation of the Shekhinah within Yidden, and that's in the third Beis HaMikdash. Ukemudgish in Maimer Hazal Anal, and this as well is highlighted in what Chazal tell us regarding the destruction of the first and second Beis HaMikdash. Remez l'mikdash is mashkin b'shnei churbanin ala v'niseim shel Yisrael. This is the double lashon of Mishkan, hints to the first and second Beis HaMikdash that was taken as a collateral when they were destroyed because of the Averis of Yidden. What do we see from this? As der Umkehr von dem Mikdash, this that Eibusher returns the Beis HaMikdash, is nicht a bazunde Zach for sich. It's not that the first one was removed, destroyed, and now there's something new, a new phase, a new beginning with the next Beis HaMikdash. Nor wie bei Mashkin. Rather, it's like in the analogy of the collateral. Was the Mechuvim von Nemen and Halten am Mashkin, what's the point of a lender taking a collateral? Is it to versichern as the Leute wird abgeben dem Chayv von früher. It's to guarantee that the borrower will pay back the money, the loan that he already owes from before. So therefore, over here as well in the Nimshal regarding the Beis HaMikdash, what this means is there's an Mashkin from the Beis HaMikdash Alava Beis Gufa. The collateral of or the destruction of the first and second Beis HaMikdash in itself is Geirim und Versicher. This causes and this guarantees as Yidden soll sich führen dabei, that Yidden should conduct themselves properly und der Rebbe wird zurückkommen, and therefore the Beis HaMikdash will be returned and come back in the third Beis HaMikdash. So therefore we see from this mashal of Chazal itself how the point of the first Beis HaMikdash and the second is to lead to and to cause to bring to the third Beis HaMikdash. This is the explanation of the Zohar regarding the three time periods of the first, second, and third. Well, the Mishkan first, and then the first, second, and third Beis HaMikdash. Here the Rabbi will explain how these three time periods, the three opinions brought in the Zohar, also relates to the building of the Mishkan itself. Since the mitzvah of building the Mishkan, and the Eibishter dwells in it, was das ist die Mitzvah l'deiris, auf bayin dem Mishkan v'ha Beis HaMikdash. This is the mitzvah for all future generations to build a Mishkan and then later on the Beis HaMikdash. Is b'pshuta shemikra gesagt geworden b'negei dem Mishkan. In the simple pshat of the pasuk, this was originally said regarding the building of the Mishkan. Is move so it's understood as in the Mishkan gufe zene da bedugmas or bedugma that is and the drei inyanim al. You have similar and somewhat of these three levels that was fulfilled in them. The Mishkan, Mikdash, and Bayis HaGimel, those three stages explained here, relates to also three time periods regarding the building of the Mishkan itself. What are these three time periods? In Hakamas HaMishkan v'Parsha Seinu, in the end of this week's Parsha, when it speaks about the Mishkan that was put up, Nach v'tachal kol avedis Mishkan oil moed, after the Yidden finished all the work in building the Mishkan. There are three different time periods and three different stages. There's first the time when the Mishkan was put up in the 7 days that are called Shivas Yimei Miluim, where the Kohanim were preparing and training for their Avodah on those 7 days. The Mishkan was already put up at that time. And the Arim was brought into its place. Everything was put in its place. Nicht wie früher, wenn es noch kein Mishkan nicht gewesen. Not like before this, even though it was all ready, but there was no Mishkan put up yet. Now blaze the Melachis and Asiyas, L'tzayich HaMishkan, all the work and everything that was done for the purpose of the Mishkan, the preparations for putting it up. So here finally, the first time the Yidden put up the Mishkan. Is das noch aber nicht gewesen kein Kavua. However, at that time, in these 7 days, it was not yet permanent. These 7 days, Moshe Rabbeinu every day would put up the Mishkan and then disassemble it. Even though they served in the Beis HaMikdash and the Kohanim did all the Avodah in these days, but the Gemara says, "Ein krui Avodah, it's l'Avodas Kohanim." In relation to the Avodah that was done afterwards, the Avodah of the Kohanim in the Beis HaMikdash, this is not referred to as service in the Mishkan. Then came B'yom HaShmini LaMiluim, on the 8th day. Chodesh Harishon Goyim Be'echad LaChodesh, first day of which is Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Hukam HaMishkan, the Mishkan is put up. Damot is given Hakamasai LaOmda. The Mishkan was put up permanently to stand. Und es hat gekannt danach sein die Avodah beMishkan. And then after this, the Yidden are able to actually properly serve in the Beis HaMikdash. So here, these two time periods relates to the first two time periods discussed before here. Was the Chelek zwischen die zwei Fanei Akome, the Mishkan Atzmai, the difference in these two times regarding the Mishkan itself that was put up, Yeshleim, we can say, as this is Bedugmas HaHefrish, this is similar to what was explained before, the difference zwischen the Mishkan, was is given, Be'ikir Amenucha Pratis von the Morin. The Mishkan itself, which was primarily a place where the Oren had a place where it had its place to rest. It wasn't a permanent place for Klal Yisrael. It moved from one location to another, but the Oren had its place. But the Mishkan Atzma is given Adiras Harai. The actual structure of the Mishkan itself was a temporary place. It was moved from one place to another, and therefore it's called an oil. So that was the Shivas Yimei Miluim, where the Mishkan was put up and taken down. On Beis HaMikdash was given Adiras Kva. And then on Yom HaShmini, when it was put up permanently and you didn't conserve there in the Beis HaMikdash, is similar to the time period of the building of the Beis HaMikdash, where there's a permanent dwelling. Makim Menucha for Knesset Yisrael, a place for Yidden to come and do the Aveda in the Beis HaMikdash, and here, to some extent, in the Mishkan as well. And then comes the third time period regarding the Mishkan itself. After the Mishkan was put up on the 8th day, the Kama Avedis and the other Avedis, certain Avedis that had to be done on this day, is Speter, only after this given the Ashras Hashchine Tzivishn Yidden, where the ultimate purpose is fulfilled, where the Eibusher here comes down and dwells amongst all the Yidden. And we as Messiah be Parsha Seinu, as the Torah concludes here in the end of our Parsha, Kvoid Hashem Molias HaMishkan, the glory of Hashem fills the Mishkan, was damalt is given, Vayere Kvoid Avaye Al Kolaham. And as it says in Parsha Shmini, that the Eibusher comes and the glory of Hashem is revealed to all the people, to the Yidden. That's the ultimate fulfillment, the third point here in the Mishkan. This is somewhat similar to the way Hashem dwells in the third Beis HaMikdash. The Eibusher says regarding Yidden, this is the ultimate expression of Kutche B'richo, of the essence of Hashem, which could only be expressed dafke within Yidden. Und wie steht in Seforno, beseif Parsha Seinu auf dem Pasuk ubehei oles ha'ona me'al Mishkan. This point is also expressed in something that the Seforno says in the end of this week's Parsha, when he talks about the cloud of glory that was on top of the Mishkan, and when Yidden had to travel, that cloud lifted up. So he says, V'cholka choisa, shriyas hashchine, kavua b'mishkan, the dwelling of the Shechina was so permanent in the Mishkan, shaloi hayim mistalik klal misham, you wouldn't remove at all from there, until the Yidden had to travel. And this was not in the time of Shiloi or the first or second Beis HaMikdash. So Dafki here, we see regarding the Shechina, the cloud of glory that was in the Mishkan, you see how this expresses the special connection to the Yidden, that it's there all in relation to whether the Yidden are staying put or the Yidden are traveling. And this is similar to the expression in the time of the third Beis HaMikdash, where the ultimate expression of the Eibishter is Dafke and Yidden. And in the Mishkan as well, similar to the third Beis HaMikdash, this is in connection to this, that Yidden fulfill Hashem's will, B'shleimus, to its utmost perfection. When it says that on the Yom HaShmini, the Eibishter came down and dwelled and was rested within Yidden, hat sich aufgetan durch Karbonesav, Avidasai, B'shleimusam, V'gam Shalaret. The Karbonis and the Aveda on its perfect level, and also of Arnakaim. Und demult, Vert die Shleimus HaManucha from Mishkan. This brings the ultimate rest that the Eibishter dwells in the Mishkan. Mishkan Ha'edus. And what's the name of the Mishkan? It's called, as it says in the beginning of this week's Parsha, the Mishkan which serves as a testimony. And this again shows that the main point of the Mishkan is the fact that the Eibishter dwells within Yidden. Eidus li Yisrael, it's testimony for Yidden, Shevitel Ehem HaKadosh Baruch Hu Al-Maisa HaEgel, that the Eibusher forgave them for the sin of the Egel, Shaharei Hishre Shechina Beineyem, because the Shechina comes and dwells amongst Yidden. That's the ultimate expression of the Eibusher, the Dire B'Tachteinem. This is the point here, the ultimate expression, where the Eibusher dwells in this world, is not the dwelling of the Shechina in the Welt, in the world, but it's the fact that the world serves as an assistance to Yidden, Lodder Velishkain, and the essence of the Eibusher is revealed dafke within Yidden. The Rabbi concludes, dem Eisig b'Teires Habayish b'chol hazmanim. Through learning about the halachas, the Torah, about the Beis HaMikdash in all of its time periods. Mishkan, Mikdash Rishon B'Sheni, the first and second Beis HaMikdash, Torah, was Hayidei Zeh, through this, through this, Abisha considers it as if you have built the base, you're being Isaac and building the base of Mikdash himself. As is on the Zayin being basic bottle, and this makes sure that the binyan of the base of Mikdash should not be nullified. Kibir Chazal, as Chazal say about this, and that's the union of mitzvahs. That it's as if you're mamish building. Besides the fact that you're being Isaac and Torah about this, about the first and second base of Mikdash, which is obviously learning Torah, it's also a mitzvah. It's mamish like you're physically building. Is das memayer or mezares dem gilui from bayis agimel b'poil. This will bring closer the third base of Mikdash, Yigala v'yavim mishamayim, which will be revealed and come down from heaven. Was then will be zayin kol hanal b'shleimus, and then all the opinions mentioned here in Zayir, all the aspects of the building of the Beis HaMikdash will be to its utmost and highest level, Shleimus HaTeirah, the highest perfection of the level of Teirah, Menuchas HaArim, the Eibusha dwelling in the Arim representing Teirah. Shleimus Am Yisrael, the perfection of Yidden, Menuchas Tif and Knesset Yisrael, the fact that the Eibusha dwells within Yidden. And Hashem, the Shleimus of the revelation of the essence of Hashem, Kutshuberichu Shalem, the Eibusha is complete, which will be revealed as Vert Golui Le'ene Kol Ha'amim, is revealed to all nations of the world. Dasvas Kutshebericho Amalei Al Knesset Yisrael. This that the Eibusha says regarding Yidden, Choluzais Munuchasi Adei Ad. This is my place where I rest, and Yidden forever.